Sarah Boone's hand-delivered 58-page letter, aka rant, aka I don't know, finally came out, and we're going to read it and review it in today's video. Hello Sofa Squad and welcome back to the sofa. My name's Paul. Today, like I said, we're going to be revisiting the Sarah Boone case. Now, Sarah has been also known as Suitcase Sarah. She and her late ex, George, were a bit of a tumultuous couple. They, had a toxic couple, you could say. Well, this would result in one evening of somehow or another, by hook or crook, George ending up in a suitcase, at which point Sarah berated him, probably tossed the suitcase around a lot, went upstairs, passed out, and he unfortunately suffocated in the suitcase. This is like 5 years ago. Okay, so she was interviewed by police. It's gone viral. We've covered it many times at this channel. She seemingly forgot that she recorded herself berating him while he was in the suitcase begging for his life to be let out. And that interview with the police went viral. She was arrested, and she's been in jail for 5 years now. She's gone through, I think she's on her 8th lawyer, working on her 9th. Well, recently she was back in court to complain about her latest lawyer. She wrote a 58-page letter. She delivered it to the judge, and they have released it. And so that's what we're going to be going over today. Now, if you follow me on my live chat channel, the podcast channel, we've reviewed it over there. So this is like the condensed version of it. It's simmered in my brain for a few days. So if you watch the other one, I'm probably going to be saying some different stuff and catch some different things in it this time. I will say that in this video, or in this letter, there's a lot of definitions that she writes out. We will skip over those, but I'll let you know we're going to do that because it's too much, right? We're just going to focus on her writings / rant, okay? So that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so on the front page here, you see she hand-delivered June 7th. She writes all her information down there, the honorable judge, her inmate number, all her stuff is right there, right? So let's move on down to page 2, or page 1 officially. Honorable Judge Krawick. Ongoing, 5 years. You can hear her voice in this, right? Why can't I? And then it goes on to one of her mini lists. Use my constitutional rights. Am I the only one who cares about the ongoing violations of? Have a bond. Have all my medical records. Have all my digital evidence and discovery. Have all my paperwork, notes, letters, pictures, everything of mine returned by my former attorneys. Speak to my investigator. Have a complete download of my phone. I certainly would want that too, considering the things she's forgotten that were on there. Have any of my witness list. Give any insight, understanding, clarification, truths about my case, especially to my attorney. Be listened to by anyone, especially my attorney. Be respected for who I am truly, especially by my attorney, and not be disrespected for the mutated, malicious murderer all the world has falsely and correctly created and believes me to be. I mean, she's getting real poetic here, y'all. Be treated fairly, lawfully, and be protected by our justice system. Properly, rightfully, completely defend myself, God help us, see all and know the same as the world can and does, including my attorney, from all the phenomenal, non-permissive amount of my entire case being available on the globally, before my trial. And most important, before I have seen myself. What doesn't anyone know already about my case? How about my side and everything about everything? Be correctly understood that I am not the problem. For reasons I am something malappointed by the court attorney. Number 8, see my letter 7/21/23. Say what I want and should, but all the world can, and say it all wrong and warped? Okay, pause there. That's just the intro, okay? What you're going to see with this letter, if you're new to this letter, it's circulated around for a minute, right? And like I said, we've already discussed it. Many of us have discussed it already. You are going to be seen inside the way her brain works. And let me tell you what, she thinks she is. I'm talking Elizabeth Taylor status, okay? She is a big fancy celebrity in her own world, right? Now, again, at its core, a lot of the stuff that she is talking about is like, yes, I can understand where you would want to get ABC, but what she has a disconnect to that shows 5 years later is that, and when I say she's accused of doing something bad, y'all, she acts like she was completely plucked off the street with nothing to do with what happened to George. She videotaped what she did to him, right? But she still is showing she does not think what she did is wrong. She does not see anything wrong with a man begging to be let out of a suitcase and her walking away and leaving him there. To die. She does not, it doesn't click up there, right? So her going on and on and on, she's also complaining about things that are just part of the American justice system. Freedom of information, things of this nature. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it is what it is. And she's spending so much time complaining about what is and wanting to reinvent the wheel that it's not going to be reinvented. They're not going to reinvent Freedom of Information Act for Sarah. It's just not going to happen, right? So move along. That's not benefiting your case. I get that it sucks. You don't want all your case information out there. I mean, I get it's a little bit odd how much stuff we have access to. Not that I'm complaining, because it's interesting, right? And again, in some situations in other countries, you see where it's like probably a good thing to see that, because we already see the corruption that can take place here in America. Look at other places too, right? So it's a double-edged sword in many situations, and I'm basically what I'm trying to say is I can grasp the core of what she's complaining about. However, it's just not going to help her in this situation. So let's keep going. Why won't my attorney give me an honest answer, show me everything she says she has, and finish reviewing for my case, but withholds from me after I ask repeatedly for and about? You know, Sarah, can you imagine the phone calls? One after the other, one after the other. Give me an answer other than I'm putting this to rest. That's not necessary, or I'm not having this conversation with you. Now, here's the thing. We already heard from the attorney, and Sarah's basically going over stuff and over stuff and over stuff. And if you follow me in this case, then you'll know, basically the way I say it is, Sarah and personality types like her, think of Daryl Brooks, will constantly change the goalpost. Right here, Sarah has put, I want my information. You give it to her. But you didn't say this in it. You're withholding this. You give it to him. Yeah, but you said this over here. And they keep changing it because they're never happy. They're never happy because at the root of it is she has to know she did something wrong, right? So she can nitpick it apart all she wants. It's not going to change the fact that she walked away from a suitcase with a man who she was supposed to love, begging for his life, and she let him slowly die overnight after probably throwing that suitcase around the house a lot and causing injuries on him. And so that's at the root of it, and recorded it, and that's part of the evidence. You can't talk your way out of that video. There's nothing to do there, right? So there's that. Okay. So she's probably driving the attorney crazy, and the attorney said in court, look, I'm trying to fight the case, but I'm having to defend every step of the way that I go, and you can't do both. So it turns into I'm just having to defend my existence almost, like, right, to Sarah. And so that's what we're doing instead of the case. We can't prepare for the case because we're spending all our time doing this. Sarah is also fixated on the bond. And she acts like she'll get it. She acts like it doesn't matter what number the judge puts up, her fans, as she calls them, will get her out. And I mean, she's in a high level of delusion. Also, one thing to keep in mind is she is in jail. She is sitting there. There is nothing to do except to fester on all this stuff and pick it apart. And so that's where she is probably going down a very deep and dark rabbit hole. Now let's keep going down the letter. So it continues to say, grant me access to anything I ask for in and about my case. Like the detectives in my case, stop putting words in my mouth. Tell me what's going on in my case. It's been well over 100 days. She has been my attorney, and I still do not know ongoing 5 years. Answer any of my questions. Even ask me ever ask me any questions. How can she supposedly know everything she needs to know from what they're being told, heard, read, seen? Reassure that they're on my side for me, not against me. Why have I already been judged in the court of public opinion? How did that happen? Well, I got a few answers for you on that one, Sarah. Number one, you've recorded yourself and George while he's begging for his life and you walk away from him. You lied your butt off. You went on a narcissistic, rambling rant during your police interview, at which point you clearly forgot you recorded this evidence. Gassed the detectives up to look at the phone, and they're going to see all the evidence they want to see. And then when they did, you 100% didn't like what they found on there. And it's like you want to go back and change it. It doesn't work that way. Okay, let's keep going. Why have I been sentenced by anticipation and condemned before my predicted trial? I mean, some of this stuff doesn't make sense. Why does my attorney and all the world think my case is already over? Your Honor, during our first introduction at my last withdrawal of court-appointed attorney number 7 Hobson, you stated to me your uninvolvement with any of my letter I write. I am still going to write my letters, of course she is, as conduitedly they are to the world where all my potential jurors are located, and this is the only way anyone including yourself knows the very necessary insight to my continued disadvantages, hindrances, impediments I'm still not experiencing, on top of the new spurring my intentions to write. Some of this stuff is it's hard for me to even make out what she's saying. The race to the pulpit is unfair, and it is important to me that you are aware and understand what transpires when the news cameras are off and we're all in between my status hearings. Now again, you just hear this talk about cameras and the world and this. She loves every bit of this attention. I'm talking eats it up like a dog at the dog bowl that hasn't eaten in a week, okay? I'm talking lapping every damn bit of it up. Most attention she's ever gotten, and she absolutely is drunken with it, right? Let's keep going. 2, as so many of the advantageous embezzler, racketeers, mindless lemons, and just altogether mean people can use their freedom of speech, not knowing me in any way other than what's being said by all the other mean people and being said incredibly incorrectly, so can I. As the compelling, annoyed detectives in my case, she writes the name, had to falsify documents, and Lauren wore his gun for me to see. I am sure you are familiar with, after watching all my plastered, highly misconstrued, over 30 million views just on one site interviews, and in which they both repeatedly attempted to feed me their incorrect, incomplete, hypothesized opinion by stating to me everyone has their limits at this seemingly endless point of perpetuality of nonsense and lawlessness still growing, and I very much want to advance to the next level after ongoing 5 years now. A genuine concerned limit has been reached. I mean, amen, girl, right? We're concerned too. Why am I still not being included in my case? How much more of my case and self is being added hourly, especially after this letter gets loose to the internet, increasing the mass infection and destruction of my hopes to have a fair trial. Anything fair, my side foremost, and wondering now if my attorney drank the punch like everyone else. And this is what I'm talking about. You can see more and more and more where it's like she literally is just totally loving this. Like, my information's getting out there, the attorney, this and that. She thinks she's a celebrity, and in a sense she is. She's infamous, and she's getting all this attention, and clearly she'll talk about, what she has in court, like fans and people writing her, and we'll get to that here in a few minutes. Again, she doesn't understand that this is not the kind of infamy that you want. This will go away once she's sentenced. That's assuming that that's the direction it goes in, and people will forget about her. All aforementioned mentioned reasons and so many more for this letter to be written, hoping to deter some of the unfair, one-sided finger-pointing of corruption and malpractice being directed at me only by there and the justice system, who are trying to deflect the shame and shock from me, fearlessly challenging the status quo. And it must be so because it's in my face on the computer at the same time on my boob tube television. I mean, what? I was just like assaulted by hyphens and dashes and like, I mean, what? Brainwashed, ignorant followers of disbelief, conformity, and greed trying unsuccessfully to make my life by character assassination seem worse than there's no two when anyone points their finger. One, it's impolite, and two, three point back at you. How many tried it to see? 3 point back. Now remember that 3 point back because that's going to be her little poetic thing she uses throughout. Again, it's just the rant, and I was saying this in the live chat too. One thing that I noticed with this writing is this first part of it is such a rambling and word salad. It's just like, huh? What are you talking about? Like, it doesn't make sense. Put the something down as there will be no casting of anything today, except maybe for the role of my part for all the pre-conclusion documentaries and crystal ball real life something of true crime incorrectly formulated from everyone supposedly knowing me and judging who they think I am, what really happened, and it's going to futuristically. So clearly she herself either is watching or has people reporting back to her on obviously YouTube channels, other people, but this is what I'm talking about, where it's just this, it's, again, to me, all I'm reading in this is that she is, number one, probably trying to set up for a mistrial and whatnot. Number two, absolutely, she loves the attention. This is the most successful she's ever been. And that's really sad, right? Now she goes back here to say, remember, 3 point back. Soothsaying is not a real job. Yeah, but again, this is coming from someone I'm like, what have you done exactly, Sarah? You know what I mean? Like, come on, right? To sum it up in the words of my attorney, after I told her to Google me, she stated, there's a lot. Can you imagine telling somebody that? Google me. I mean, y'all, she thought she ate with that one, right? She absolutely loved. Again, that's the part that grosses me out, is the attention-seeking behavior she's getting out of this and how much she thinks she's a celebrity. She thinks she gets this special treatment, this and the other, because it's like, you know, oh, this, you know, whatever. Honey, this is not the first time a case has gone viral like this. You know, won't be the last. To sum it up in the words of myself, the defendant, stated to my attorney, after she stated that to me, when can I see, how much longer do I have to wait, or how many attorneys must be withdrawn for me to be included in my case, and be included more than the world previously is. This is my case in every aspect. See all my aforementioned ongoing 5-year questions, I'm still waiting for answers. Also, I want to make it known, I walked out on my attorney in our last meeting due to her unwarranted, uninformative, unprofessional, snotty attitude, and her untruthful answers to my questions and beyond. The retarded, vicious cycle we enter every time we meet is a waste of time, and I'm saying that being in jail with supposedly endless amounts of. How she threatens me is extremely prejudiced, hostile, and unconcerned. I mean, again, I'm like, oh my gosh. She is very frustrating. Number 1, to balk or defeat in an endeavor. Number 2, to induce feelings of insecurity, discouragement, or dissatisfaction in. Number 3, to bring to nothing. Now, it's going to be clear with this is the beginning of it, right? And we're going to see more of this. Somebody gave her a dictionary and we don't like this person. Okay? We don't like this person. We need to take it back from her. Let's keep going. So much I presented my solution in order to coexist with and work together in a hopeful, progressive, positive, appropriate manner. I added pretend judge to our interactions so she could calm down and ease up on her condescension, offensive demeanor, and obvious prejudgment. She seems, like everyone else, not to remember I am innocent until adjudged otherwise. She treats me as if I am not. So Sarah has made up a pretend judge. This is, y'all, bless the lawyer's heart. Bless the lawyer's heart. Can you imagine? Imagine what she goes through when she goes to meet her. Let's hear how the pretend judge works. After my introduction and explanation with pretend judge in the room or on the phone, I am trying to help her understand how she is making herself extremely unwelcoming. When in front of a real judge and in the courtroom is how she should treat me, her client, at all times. I should not have to invent pretend judge in order to be, and am not at all wrong for wanting to be respected, no matter the outcome. I am innocent until adjudged otherwise. My attorney, everyone should be fair, unbiased, trustworthy, honest, supportive, informative, protective, automatically and effortlessly. I feel like Jody Hildebrandt helped her write this letter with all the lists and all the continuing, adjectives and verbs and all this type of stuff. Here's the thing. I mean, the judge is reading this like, what? Like a pretend judge? Seriously? But this is the level that Sarah, it's like, she demands this respect. And I'm like, honey, number one, you probably weren't willing to give yourself this respect when you were outside, meaning not incarcerated, and certainly not willing to give it to other people. I mean, look at what we've seen, the evidence with just George. I should feel secure, highly confident, proud in her representing my life. I do not, and have said to her many times regarding her something monumental disbelief in me and my care, which I believe contributes greatly to her inimical attitude towards me. I am hoping by this letter she will pick up the sword of injustice and fight alongside, not against me, as so many unmotivated, overwhelmed, weak attorneys prior who bowed over ungraciously and crept away from the battlefield unsuccessful. I mean, y'all, I cannot. She thinks she's putting them down and like whatever, but it's like, girl, they ran screaming from you, okay? This is insane. The grandiose delusion is insane in this one. My case equals bizarre, equals unknown, equals different, equals ignorance, equals misunderstood, equals unfair. This does not mean my case can't equal success, and in more than one way. While everyone continues to ring their bells of malevolence, I am ringing mine of hope, honor, plausibility, boldness. Listen! I am not a murderer. The justice system should equal fair, faith, trust, and respect. Innocent until and if adjudged otherwise. 3-point back. Sarah Boone. Confused cat meme. Yes, thank you. Y'all, I don't know if they're allowed to do this or not, but I would pray that the judge went home and read this with his wife if he's married, okay? And if it's to, a wife. I'm just like, I don't know what to say. The cat meme at the end, the 3-point back, I mean, this is where it's like, girl, you are unhinged. And again, there's just this grandiose thing going through here that it's like, she doesn't seem to understand that it's one thing she doesn't seem to get is the evidence against her. And I'm not trying to say, everyone has their day in court, right? But she keeps going on the same way she kept going on and on with the detectives talking about, look at my phone. They're like, well, we did, and we see you killing George on it. What else is there? You know what I'm saying? It's like that level of like, but you would think after 5 years of allegedly being sober, some behavior would change, but it hasn't. It's like almost like it's gotten worse. Okay, now we're going to jump to another letter here. So this is June 4th, 2024, video visit 12 minutes. In addition to my previous letter, intended for hand delivery on 6/7/24 at my status hearing, today my attorney made a video visit to go over everything I've been asking her for, and have also sent to her personally in 2 letters dated 5/20/25. All on the public video visitation box were on both sides of me, less than 5 inches away from my visit. Other inmates were having their visits also. I have explained to my attorney numerous times previously in writing and verbally that despite the noise level, I do not in any way feel comfortable having in-depth private meetings regarding my entire criminal case on the visitation box where there is no privacy whatsoever, and hold in an open bay dorm with more than 62 other interested all-ears inmates. I cannot fully participate, if at all, from the entire dorm, officer included, trying to participate also in my case. As always, my attorney did not listen or care after I repeatedly tried reminding her of my unsecure environment, barking at me I can listen or not, still going over speaking and not at all allowing me to respond. After repeating to her over and over and over while she's beginning to speak louder and over me, still to please schedule an in-person meeting where all can be discussed further, privately with no success of being heard, I disconnected the visit telephonically. She uncooperatively, she is impossible. See previous letter or ask her for a copy of the 2 I sent her. I was trying to remedy or lessen before sending this to you, Your Honor, and not having to include, now it's a race to the pulpit. My question, please, who acts like that and still be able to call themselves professional? The visitation box is primarily for family and friends to connect, and if a visit from an attorney, reminders, notices, quick questions, not high-level confidential case information. She, like other former attorneys who always blame their dysfunctions on me, said, "You don't like the answers I give you. What answers? See page 1, 2, and 3. Here's the thing with this. Now, there's two double sides to this. Okay, one part of the argument is this. Like, if this was coming from any other inmate, I would want to question too, well, what is your attorney wanting to say over the visitation box if everyone can listen to it? I get that. But also because it's Sarah, the attorney could literally be telling her this, Sarah, we're going to see you in court on the 7th for a status hearing, and this is what they'll go over. But because Sarah thinks that she's a celebrity and that everything, like, you need to schedule an in-person appointment, she's dealing with attorneys who are bogged down with tons of other cases. And it's like, again, if you want a private attorney, then get your fans to pay for it. They say your fans can pay for you to get out. Have them pay for a private attorney that will you can snap your fingers for their beck and call. To me, that's where the proof is in the pudding, because it's like, well, then you want different treatment. Well, then do that, right? But she's not going to get that. Okay, no, that's not how it works. And so she's making this, again, way more difficult and dragging her feet on it, trying to set her up probably to get the thing overturned. Anyways, let's keep going. I'm not the problem, except that I want to and should be treated fairly with respect, acting more professional than the paid. I've been doing this for over 40 years professional. After so long and in all the experience, common courtesy, customer service, and listening skills should have been acquired. I love that she put customer service. Like, that tells you everything you need to know about how Sarah views the situation. Like, she is the customer. And it's like, honey, that's not, again, it's frustrating. I get it. The evidence is pretty overwhelming that something nefarious went down. And this is not like the first attorney. You're on number 8, okay? This is, again, we're in the category of Darrell Brooks here, right? This is not good. All attorneys, do you remember why you even wanted to be one? Well, remind yourself. No one listens, and it works in everyone's favor but mine, that I am a murderer stuck in jail, so they can pin on me their uninterested, unmotivated, hopeless, they're gonna leave me over her haughty attitude. I am not wrong for not thinking less of myself because everyone else has and does. This present attorney foremost. We know definitely she doesn't think less of herself. Oh my God. The justice system expects me and other inmates, aka clients, to accept its subpar, nonchalant, hypocritical, next on the list attorneys they keep aimlessly throwing darts for and malappointing, praying they don't withdraw. I have not fired any attorneys. appointed in my case. From me expecting the highest equal standards possible for wanting the absolute best outcome in my preposterous mismanaged case. Again, here's the thing. Sarah's not willing to give the same energy though. And oftentimes we see with their personality types, people like Sarah, Daryl Brooks, these people like this that hold everyone to this incredibly, insanely high standards. They themselves can't meet it. And that's why they spend their lives gaslighting, pointing out all the things that are being done wrong around them, because they're essentially just projecting themselves onto people, right? Sarah would never be able to provide what she's wanting from this attorney to anybody else. I mean, you saw her condition on the outside. I mean, she basically was just, from the sounds of it, was like the town drunk, right? Or the apartment complex drunk, you know, and they just kind of had this toxic relationship, and that was the existence of them, you know? And now she comes in here and she's expecting like this red carpet to be rolled out for her, and it's like, honey, you stand accused of murder and the evidence doesn't look cute, and you're focused on how somebody's coming at you. You know, you didn't respect yourself. Like I said, you didn't respect yourself when you're on the outside. Why should you expect anybody else to all of a sudden? Anyways, and representing myself is not an option, as both judges have now threatened me from being outspoken and intelligent in all my observations of the ongoing abuse I am and have experienced. I have no new experience from it always being the same. Blame Boone. That needs to be a coffee mug. I refuse to be moved in wanting respect, no matter who everyone thinks I am. Clarity, inclusion, honesty, and professionalism. And another great reason not to have my case meetings on the public visitation box is my personal confidential inmate information, such as my visitation list, 2020 through 2023, with names, etc., my interactions with inmates and officers, what I eat when, and my personal jail calls also being thrown online. For what? To hate me more, or to try to get others to because I don't eat breakfast, or because I know some Latin, have short hair, my penmanship is nice, because I'm not getting fat and sleeping all day, but rather fully applying myself, fighting still, making everyone upset from not having to fabricate something, splice, edit. The world apparently knows all. Again, complete projection here, right? She is a complete know-it-all. Now, the other thing to hear is, again, I will stand by that. She loves this attention. All the details she keeps throwing out here about how public her case is and all this, she thinks she is something special, right? Now she says, what's next? How many times I go to the bathroom and what function I perform? No one knows anything, nor seems to want to, from being comfortable in their corruption and stirring or something to be on top with ratings, web hits, and money. My case details, if anyone forgot, and if you think about it, all that keeps getting plastered and plagiarized, posted and poked fun at about me is all in my favor, proving myself right about all the mindless lemons and shutting the justice system advantageously, abusing and profiting from everything in my case, before my trial and before I've seen. Again, she absolutely loves this. Be sure to read my attachment 4, and she does a ruling, restricting disclosure. Am I the only one who thinks of these things? When can I win in anything? It's coming. I am not the problem. And if anyone were to slip on my side and have to experience, tolerate, deal with any of what I have and am, would bravely be doing the same. Don't knock it till you try it. 3-point back, race to the pulpit. I love how, again, always, Sarah Boone. You know, when she signs her name, she's like, this is going to be worth something. She's like, this is worth something. I'm giving you $10 right now by doing that. And her whole thing, 3-point back, race to the pulpit. She tries to get so poetic. I mean, my gosh. Okay, now what happens is she goes into this massive list of definitions. We're not going to read through these, but we'll just scroll through so you can see. And what she does here is, I don't know the point in her writing all these out other than being bored and like having a lot of time on her hands, or if she's wanting them to know that she knows what these definitions are. That's all I can think of. But let's just scroll through and look at the level that she goes through. So, I mean, you see here, I mean, it's just, it goes on and on and on and on, right? I mean, thing after thing after thing after thing. I mean, it's just, this is exhausting to me. This is exhausting to me. I can't. She's going to put the American Declaration of Independence on here. She's going to put the Florida Constitution. I mean, I just feel like this is the condescending thing that she could remember. This is for the judge, right? So it's like she's wanting to show a point. And again, I understand that she has all this time in her hands and she's doing all that. Like, I get that. But that's where it's just like there's this level of condescendingness from her to everyone that it's just, again, I have a feeling what happens is she comes at everybody in this way and then she gets it right back because they try to give her their professional opinion and like shut it down, and she doesn't want to hear it. She doesn't like the answer she's hearing, and probably what they're trying to tell her is the evidence is really, really bad in this and you can't really talk your way out of it, and she's convinced that she can. It's just like Daryl Brooks, who was like, these personality types always think they can talk their way out of it. They think they can, because she's gotten used to that. She's probably somebody who got her way a lot of the time because she was so insufferable to be around. Just imagine her at the grocery store, just interacting with George, whoever, that people just pander to her to give, like, to shut her up and get away from her and she gets her way. It's like when you see these viral clips of these Karens in the wild going crazy and stuff in public situations the first time they've been told no. And they oftentimes abuse retail workers and people like this who kind of have to put up with them, and they get their way. And then when they finally are told no, they don't know what to do with it. They absolutely melt down, right? And they'll melt down over anything. So something like this is a massive meltdown for her, right? Because she's being, in her world, held unconstitutionally, right? She doesn't see why she's in trouble. And again, it just keeps on going. It keeps on going. It keeps on going. It keeps on going. I mean, it's on and on and on and on. She has just written and written definition after definition. Oh my goodness gracious. Now, this part right here, y'all, let me minimize this some. This was pure gold. And what she has done is, so you see there's a map here with stars on it. There's maps of the continents. Then I'm going to read this and then get back up to it. So she says, publicity, exploitation, and saturation. United States, page map 1. To date, each star is a state where I have received correspondence via mail or message regarding my current criminal case. World map, page 2. To date, each star is a continent where I have received correspondence via mail or messages regarding my criminal case. The number grows daily. Most all letters and messages are available for my review and understanding of the impact of my case details being made readily available on the global internet, creating wrongful ignorance, hate, and massive prejudice, prejudgment before my trial. I, the defendant in my case, have not yet ongoing 5 years fully reviewed or even seen all of my case details. Everyone in the world has already had the opportunity to do so themselves. Again, I understand this is frustrating for her. But like the attorney said, she has reviewed some of this. She just keeps moving the goalpost. Now we're going to change this over. So we say, okay, so here's the map. Publicity, exploitation, and saturation. Now we just kind of make this a little bit bigger. We see we got a little Washington State over here, Idaho, Nevada, California, Wyoming, not interested. Montana, not interested. Nebraska, not interested. Iowa, not interested. Oklahoma, not interested. Tennessee, nope. Kentucky, nope. Alabama, nope. Mississippi, nope. Sadly, North Carolina is. They are. I'm going to admit to it. All up and down here. Now let's keep going down. Let's go to the continent. I mean, she's continental. Okay, so we've got 2 stars over here. We've got... Where are we at? We got North America. Well, she's got 2 different things. She's showing Canada, and then she said it's continents, but she's got 2 stars. It's from Canada. It looks like it's in Canada somewhere, and then obviously America. Then over here in the United Kingdom area, it looks like that appears to be all Greenland, Africa, Australia, Oh no, we do have one over here towards Japan, it looks like. My eyesight's a little bad. Now when we were in the live chat, I was saying, wouldn't it be funny if she tried to troll the court and she put up a thing of the solar system talking about the place where I've put stars are the planets that I've heard from, and the only one she did was Uranus, right? I could see her completely trying to do everything, because I'm sure from her, I'm surprised she hasn't said that she has heard from a solar system somewhere, right? I mean, she has gone absolutely global in her mind, like intergalactic Sarah Boone, right? I mean, she is just excited over this. Okay, so we did this page. Let's keep going down here. So we're going to jump back down to the secondary thing. The continuation of the obvious exploitation allows the world to keep pressing their incorrect, presumed unfair theories, ideas, accusations, forcibly insinuating I committed criminal acts. Girl, you recorded them, okay? My present attorney said it is not necessary to receive a court order I've been trying to obtain to download my case information to apply from the OCCD tablets. My former attorneys are withholding some of my case contents I have supplied to them, which have been deemed lost. Many other items have been returned, not to myself, but to the next attorney, which have been unable to been located to date. I am missing innumerable case items which I continuously requested to be returned or obtained without success. Now she goes into more definitions: invasion of privacy. She goes into this very, thoroughly or whatever. And she gives examples. Then she does this. Now, I will say this. I do like her handwriting for this right here, where it says publicity, exploitation, and saturation. Now, in the live chat, I was saying, this looks like a damn Mad Libs, right? This looks like a Mad Libs that an inmate sold off for like a honey bun or a damn cup of noodles or something. Okay, so let's get into this Mad Libs. So it says, my personal individual criminal case is being advantageously exploited and abused from all of my significant life-saving suppressible case details, evidence, proof being illegally obtained by coercion, trickery, duress, confusion, and without my permission, in any form, written or verbal, to anyone, then broadcasted, distributed, hand-delivered to the entire planet. I told you the planet. States, countries, continents. She's next letter, she will put in there planets, solar systems, containing, I think she meant contaminating, all of my potential jurors, causing irreparable, erroneous falseness, greatly tainting my jury pool altogether by forcibly attributing heavily influenced, incorrect, inappropriate motives, theories, and ideas. Again, I wish she had put this much energy into this stuff when she was not incarcerated for taking the life of George. This obvious exploitation and invasion of my privacy is creating unnecessary, unlawful oppression, depleting all of my entitled, the key word here, entitled, opportunities to be given a fair, proper, successful conclusion of my case. Something prejudgment has already been made unfairly against me from the undeniable violations of my constitutional rights and due process of law as a result of my entire case and personal life being publicized globally before my rightful trial, which lawfully, ethically should be without disadvantage and freedom, all partially deceitfulness and dishonesty made from said evidence exploitation. Then she's got her damn I cannot. She's got her damn resources, which, I mean, amen. She says definitions collected from Something Law Library, Merriam-Webster's Dictionary, and Smart Communications Tablet. Immediately take the dictionary away. Immediately take the dictionary away. It's not helping anybody, okay? It's not helping anybody. And then she does it. She does them all here. So we have another thesaurus here. She's made a damn thesaurus. I mean, look at this. It goes on and 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 on. And that's she ends off with the damn Freedom of Information Act. Now, again, I want to say this. Obviously, everybody deserves a fair trial, deserves a defense. all of this, right? Just to, if anything, to protect the conviction, right? And so I don't want to sit here, and we poke fun at it and this and that and whatever because it's so over the top. But however, once we get into cases like this where the person is abusing the system, they are abusing their attorneys, they are just this level of entitled that we've not seen. Remember, she's been incarcerated for 5 years fighting this. You would have thought that some of the toxic behavior would have gone away and maybe there would have been a little bit more of an awakening, but she just gets more entitled. She just gets more unhinged, and again, we saw this with Daryl Brooks where they drag their feet through this, and I'm not sure what the tactic or purpose is. I don't know if she's set out to try and get it overturned or whatever. I understand when things go viral like this. Does it seem fair to the defendant? No, it doesn't, because yes, everyone knows about this, everyone's commenting on it, but she kind of keeps giving them fodder to do so, right? And so, yeah, because of the Freedom of Information Act, everyone has access to this stuff, but just from the little bit we've heard the attorney say it, it's, again, I just say it like this, she changes the goalpost. She fixates on something that is not necessary to the trial. They're trying to do their job. She fixates on this thing, and then that's what their job becomes, is pandering to this one little thing, just like the bond. She goes on and on and on and on and on about this, and it's like, girl, this is not how this works. You're in Florida. You're up for murder. The bond thing, it's a no-go, okay? It's a no-go, especially at this point, right? And again, I would sit here and argue, if you're so confident that your fans, which she calls people, are going to put up your bond, then have them hire you a private attorney so that you can have them do what you want and snap your fingers and they jump and this, that, and the other, and charge $1,000 when you say so every time, which within probably 1 week, she would rack up 6 figures. And even it's like, okay, they've given her all this, pretend that they could snap their fingers and give her all this information. What she's wanting to do is to tear it apart and try and come up with this happened for this, and that happened for this, blah, 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 blah. You can't get around the video, the multiple videos on the phone, the tech evidence or whatever you want to call it, the cell phone evidence, the data, whatnot. You can't get around this. Sarah didn't understand in the meeting with the cops and doesn't seem to understand too. She thinks because of the not intentional, she's, in my world, what I've seen is she's trying to claim that basically because she accidentally fell asleep that she's not in trouble. She was, now it does sound like she was blackout drunk during the time. George is asking to be let out and she refuses to. He clearly says numerous times, I can't breathe. And her response to that is F you, F you, F you. That's my name, don't wear it out type stuff. It's almost like she's like, no, I didn't mean to do that though. But you did, and that's what the cops say. But you did. To me, it's no different. It's very similar. If you, like, somebody goes out drunk driving, whatever, they get in a car wreck and they kill somebody. I don't doubt that they didn't mean to set out to intentionally get in that car wreck and do that, but they did, and it was under circumstances that they shouldn't have been doing that, right? So this is the same type of thing. It's a little bit different because it's like somehow he got in the suitcase. He asked to be put out. You zipped it up. There's clearly evidence because she takes multiple videos of the suitcase and it's changed positions. So this would explain the bruising and whatnot because she probably was like throwing it around and doing stuff to him. And he can't get out. And then she put it on a level where he couldn't get out. That, just because she didn't set out with the intention of him dying, doesn't excuse her. And from what I've seen, it seems like that's what she seems to think. And so she's trying to talk her way out of it. And again, anybody would want to dissect their case and come up with the best outcome for themselves, 100%. But I would say this is probably another one of these scenarios where if they are offering her a plea deal, she doesn't like what they've offered, or she's the type that's like, I'm innocent, I'm going to be whatever. So say they came to her and were like, good, look, girl, we'll give you 20 years. Which to me would be a deal, right? It would be like, okay, I mean, you would obviously want to hope for less, but it would be like, okay, well, it's probably better than blank, right? She's going to deny it and just steer away from it. So anyways, that's that. Let me know if you've made it to the letter. Number one, thank you for watching the whole thing, okay? I do appreciate it. And let me know what you think. Should we blame Boone? 3-point bag, you name it. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. And also drop some little sofas off there so that I'll have a place to sit. And little Roscoe and Spirit will have a place to hang out with me while we talk about this case, all the other ones that we do talk about here at the Sofa Squad. And until we do all that, We'll see y'all soon. I just wanted to say thank you again for watching the whole video, and also thank you for being part of the Sofa Squad. Special thanks to all the Patreon members, channel members from both of my channels, everybody who likes, shares, subscribes, comments in the comment sections. It helps the channel out so much. Now don't forget, I do have that other channel, the podcast channel. That's where we go live, we hang out, we talk. We have kind of sort of a schedule, but just be sure and check it out. I'll put it up here on the screen. Also, if you're looking for merch, be sure to check out my Teespring store. I'll put that up here. And then, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to follow me and Roscoe on the Instagram, go on, check it out. It's right here on the screen again. But once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being part of the Sofa Squad, and I'll see you in the next video.